conference. And this will be the last one for today. So we're ending with a bang. We began with a bang with Dr. Crosby. We're going to end with Brian McLaughlin, who's the president of Orion.
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
Brian, thanks a lot for joining us. I know you're busy, and we appreciate you taking some time here.
Well, just busy because we're having an awesome time here at Ascent. I mean, there's just so much we're doing right now, and so much we're announcing and communicating out to our clients and to our prospects. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. And I tell you, for me, someone that loves the RIA space, as I do, this is like heaven for me. It's like a cornucopia of talent. So I really appreciate you taking some time here.
Absolutely.
So I'm not sure if you watched too many of our episodes, but we asked some pretty hard-hitting questions.
Okay, let's hear them.
So we're gonna start with the hard one first. Coming up on the next season, how will the Ducks do?
The Ducks are going to be awesome. Good catch on that one. Yeah, huge Ducks fan. I don't know. With Bo Nix stepping out, and we have a bunch of seniors going out, we'll have to see how the transfer portal treats us this year.
All right.
And then we're also in the Big Ten now, so
yes,
that's going to be a really interesting change in the travel schedule. So I don't know.
All right.
I don't know, but I want them to win a national title one year.
That sounds good.
We've been trying so hard.
Well, hopefully they'll make it.
I hope so.
For those of you in the audience that don't have the ability to have been here at San Diego, that's a little reference earlier today. So I had the opportunity to watch both Brian and Natalie do the opening
keynote, fireside chat and stuff like that. Kind of understand each other. Yep.
They talked about
and we shared these
things.
pictures of her being running craps tables and being a pit boss on cruise ships growing up, and mine was Ducks, and we had that unique situation where we both our parents are twins.
Yes, that's right.
And it's so funny because all of this is things that we didn't know about each other until 5 months ago.
So cool.
We literally did not know each other.
You can see on stage you guys have that chemistry, which, as a client of Orion as well, you know, Eric leaving, and I was a huge fan of Eric, still am, of course.
Still.
Seeing you guys interact that way was really reassuring, and I enjoyed watching that.
Good, I'm glad.
Okay, so for those in the audience here that want to pivot back to going RIA, which is our favorite topic here, maybe second to the Ducks, there's a lot I want to talk to you about, but the one thing I think is most important, especially considering our audience. So our audience is made up of advisors, at a wirehouse, at a broker-dealer, and they're thinking about going independent. What do they need? They need compliance. They need a phone system. They need technology.
Yes.
And I think one of the most important things for RIA technology as you're building a stack is playing well in the sandbox, meaning integration.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little bit, please?
Sure. So a couple parts to answer that. One is picking a technology vendor who can provide you a set of solutions you can grow into. You can start small, grow into. I believe Orion is one of those. We have a couple packages.
I would ask you to hold that a little closer.
Yeah, we have a couple of little packages that go from starter, launch editions, up until full advantage, which is everything. But when you're coming out and being a new RIA, what we really need to start with is the essentials, right? Let's start with the basics. CRM, you gotta have communication tools, a document management solution. You're gonna need to do your portfolio account and reporting. But we do that at a pretty light level, and so we have some great packages there. One of the awesome cool things about Orion, and something I'm proud of even from the Redtail days that I ran Redtail, is that we have an open integration system. So we call it Open Borders API, right? Which is we're going to work with every vendor out there that we can because they're all a little bit of a fit for the right reason for the right client. So here, even at Ascent, we have over there, and I know the audience can't see, I'm going to point this way, a whole kind of like tech village going on.
That's right.
Where you can see all the new technology. A lot of those companies are new. Like they're only maybe a year, 3 years old. So it's all this cool, amazing, innovative tech. Well, what we have to do is foster a community where we can bring them in and enable them with distribution so people can see it and know what it can possibly do. And some of this tech ends up into our bigger systems over time. The M&A process happens and all that. So we're just really big believers of tying in everything that we can.
That is so important. And again, for the advisor that's watching us right now that has their tech stack delivered to them by their broker-dealer.
Yeah.
When you're building your own tech stack, and I can tell you from firsthand experiences, I like to say this whole podcast, these live streams, it's like a reality show for me.
Yeah.
Right. And the reality show is watch Chuck go independent, which I did 5 years ago. And let me tell you something. We built our tech stack initially. We completely flubbed it up. And the problem was our core piece, and I'm not going to name names because it doesn't matter. They did not play well with others. I could not integrate.
What type of tech was it? I'm curious. You're actually you're touching on something that I believe in, which is when you're going independent like this, you're going to pick your 1, 2, maybe 3 other stretch core tech that you must have to run your business. Generally, that's CRM and something else. But some people feel like it's planning and the client portal is the most important thing to their value prop. you have to pick that and center your world around it.
That's right.
Right. So you got to pick somebody who's willing to play with everybody. So what type of vendor was it?
It was actually an account management vendor.
An account management. Okay.
Right. And they just were not able to deliver on some things, and it's fine. And it wasn't like they were a bad vendor.
Yeah.
They were just bad for us.
Yeah.
Right. And so the most important thing I've realized, if you want to future-proof your tech stack as a emerging RIA, which we are, we're a small RIA, is to make sure your technology integrates well with each other. And especially as you're a growing RIA. So we're small but growing. We might have an advisor that comes in that likes to use Riskalyze, or have an advisor that comes in and uses XYZ. What I like is you guys play well with everyone.
Yes.
Right? As we're looking, which you can't see there, but there's a whole sea of vendors over there.
Around or something. Yeah.
We're going to work on that for some other time, because I think that'd be cool to do. But what's interesting, some of those are competing against some of the products in your tech stack.
Of course they are.
Which I think is wonderful.
Well,
right?
because even the stuff we're doing here with the new advisor experience reimagined, where we're unifying the look, the feel of how we use the Orion software, because they've had 7 acquisitions in 5 years. My company, Redtail, was one of the last.
Right.
And a big component being the front end of CRM. And we're blending that into a unified experience. But what's key to how we're doing that is that we understand the workflow of an advisor is going to be different for each one. They might like Riskalyze Nitrogen and say, your tool's great, Orion, but I want to use this one. Well, we need to be able to support hopping out, hopping back in seamlessly. And that's what we actually do.
Yeah.
So some people say, I have an account opening process. I got to use this one. I just love it. I don't care.
Right.
Do what works for you. Our job is to enable all those and to also build a solution maybe better than that. So you would buy all of our solution, obviously.
Sure.
We are, capitalist and for profit at the end of the day. So
absolutely.
But
don't block everyone out.
Don't block you out.
Yes.
And I think for advisors starting off and picking that technology, what you're looking for is organizations that have a really big community following.
Yes.
You need to have that, because these integrations are not built just for the sake of building. They're built for a business purpose, and usually it's relationship oriented. Just like their business, like an RIA is, or any financial advisor, it's all about the relationships. The same thing applies here. So the things that we do at Orion that we've done for years are things like our hackathons, the Fuse Hackathon, which we're bringing back.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Where we get developers to build to a solution. Hey, the industry has this problem. Show us possible options. We give awards and do all this. Yeah, we've done it for a long time. I think I started back in the Redtail days, and then Orion and Eric Clark took it off from there.
You know what? I wasn't aware that you guys did that.
Yes,
I think that's really neat. We should cover that some point, because I like that idea.
It's bringing all that, into the ecosystem. It had to slow down because of COVID, and we're bringing it back now.
Yeah.
But those are the ways that we build those relationships, connections with the other companies to build the better integrations for advisors.
Ooh.
And so while you service and work with everybody, you have to work with a bigger company that has that community and that engagement option for these companies like the Village over here to get in front of everybody and to explain what they're doing and how they're doing it. And then for us to look at it and say, how can we support you to get you in front of more advisors, right? Because it's a win-win at the end of the day.
I love it. And again, as a user myself, and there's a lot of good people you should be talking to, and you should talk to a lot of folks before you make a decision. But as a user myself of Orion, I was very pleased to see that opening keynote. Yeah. And I think the biggest theme that I heard, at least, was integration. And I think that is absolutely paramount for a growing firm, because you don't know what is kind of secondary technology you're going to swap out at some point.
Correct.
And if you're going to swap, you have to make sure that the central point can still communicate with everything else.
Yeah, that this still keeps going. That's why you got to pick that couple, 2 or 3 max core technologies.
Yeah.
You must have to run your business. Remember, you are running a company at the end of the day.
Right.
So that's prospecting, that's opportunity tracking, lead gen, that's all marketing, it's all this type of stuff. So that's why we generally look at either the CRM, but I also understand in the space, advice and the proposal generation might be more interesting. It doesn't really matter, though, at the end of the day. Pick what's core to your business opportunity, your value prop, and circle around that. And you can just talk to the vendors out here and say, how many integrations and so forth do you have to kind of give you a scope? Do we have 100 of them? Right. There's only a couple hundred vendors here. So if they say like 500 or 600, they're BSing you, because there are 500 or 600 vendors here in the ecosystem. But there's, I think we have almost 300, which covers almost everybody. So that is a good indication of the depth of capabilities that you could have. So you go, I'm ready to do this tool, and add this into my arsenal.
Right.
That's most likely going to plug and play. And that's what you really want, make your life easier.
Super important. And also the depths of those integrations as well.
You have to ask about the depth of it. Most of them truly are just contextual links drop in.
Yeah.
Click a link, sign into something. There are a lot of integrations, though, recently that have been coming out that are two-way, bi-directional syncs,
Yes.
where you update a name, let's say, people update a last name in one software, the other one sees it in real time. So we're seeing a lot more of that, and we're trying to keep pushing that initiative of data democratization for all this information so that people can use it in different ways to make real-time upgraded interfaces.
Right.
The industry needs it badly to modernize some of this stuff.
Without question. I mean, I was actually at the doctor's office the other day, and doctor I've been going
How
to
integrated
for years.
that is? Yeah.
Holy smoke. I had to fill out multiple forms. I had to write my address on 5 different forms.
Right.
And I was just like, this is nonsense.
Yeah. Where's my DocuSign?
Right. Let's
Can I just
DocuSign this
fingerprint
bad
this?
boy. Let's
That's me.
go.
Bye. See ya.
Right. Face ID something.
Yeah, right.
But even filling out one form I thought was too much for a doctor I've been going to for years. But 3 or 4 forms?
That's a lot.
That's just insane.
Yeah.
So whatever we could do to make our industry not that, I think would be good. Okay, so one of the things one of the many things I love about coming to these conferences is getting some new news.
Yeah.
What can you tell us that's really exciting that you guys are announcing here at Ascent?
Well, we announced a ton of stuff.
I know.
My teams
Pick
have
been
been very busy lately. Really proud of all my teams out there. Probably my personal favorite is probably the Orion Compare tool.
Okay, yeah.
So the Compare engine is basically a proposal generation tool. And what we did is we simplified the workflow engineering behind creating proposals with the personalized individuality that we want to offer clients. And as we know, and we see in the surveys that we did, other surveys out there, that businesses have a lot higher revenue potential if they personalize to their client individual tastes. Yeah. Hence custom indexing, direct indexing, that type of stuff, the popularity of that. So this allows us, though, to go and make a sandbox, like what if scenario playground. I like to liken it to almost like the financial planning tools have been doing, the Money Guy Pros, the world of stuff, where they would have like a play box area where you can slide the sliders. It would tweak the plan.
Clients love that.
The clients love it because you can do it in real time with them face to face. Now you can do that with proposal generation. So let's take a look at your existing account. Here's my proposal. Oh, well, you know what? I'm really not that comfortable with the taxes on this. We'll slide that down. Okay, cool. Here's the adjustment. Different assets been proposed. Then we also integrated AI into it, which is nice. We're still using it as more an assistive technology, but using Gen AI to go ahead and provide executive summaries for advisors to help them understand how to talk to that person based on those settings. So for an example, what we showed today was if you have your client do the B520, which is basically a really quick 2 to 3 minute online form that basically identifies your tolerance and your values towards money. Like how do you talk about it? How do you feel about growth and risk? Real simple stuff. And it gives you kind of a metric or a persona. Mine was financial optimist, and somebody might be a maximizer. And then that plugs into the prop gen as well now through Orion Compare. So you can see like, hey, I'm talking to a maximizer type persona. Here's the proposals generated. Here's all the assets that are going to happen. Here's how you talk about it to that type of person. Wow. See, that's something the advisors aren't being taught enough, is to how to talk to that relationship in a way that's meaningful to them based on how they feel, because there's always a gap. The advisor is one thing, their client's something else. Yeah. And so this helps bridge that gap really nicely. And then the last thing I love about it, that made it go A to Z for us, was this one click, do the trades. So really? Client says good to go. We sign it, DocuSign it, done, execute trades.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I've always loved technology. Even before I got into the RIA space, I just always loved technology. I had good old Apple II Plus back in the day.
Yeah.
Before you were done. Did you have one? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Right on. So I haven't had a chance to check that out myself, but I will tomorrow. I know you guys are doing some
we have a couple
rolling
sessions
demos.
Here, so please check it out.
I definitely will, because that sounds like something really interesting. And what a great use of AI.
Yes.
Because we get that question a lot from advisors. Like, I hear about AI, it's going to change how I do business. How? That's probably a good example of how.
Yeah. So we did it a couple different places. Last year, we released it through the Redtail products, Redtail Speak in particular, which is our chatting application, where you can text and chat to clients compliantly. We added in automatic reply suggestions. So it basically looks at your history with you and the client, just those two parts, and a couple of other data points from the CRM and some other places, and it suggests potential replies for you to go fast and fire and forget.
Wow,
And we're
cool.
seeing that same tech though pop up in email clients now and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah.
But doing it for texting to your clients directly. So they ask a simple question about, how you feeling about the markets right now? Well, it already knows like the answer you're going to give most likely. Here's the suggestion. Here's how the markets are doing. Yep, send.
Right.
But you can modify it anytime. You don't have to have it override anything. But it's a cool use of the technology to understand that we can save you time with this technology, not take over your business or take over things yet.
Wow.
I say yet because there are some articles that came out today in the news out there about AI and the future.
Oh, I haven't seen that news.
Oh, you haven't seen that yet?
I've been doing this all day long. Yes.
Yeah, I have, Joe. I caught it through, I think the Wall Street Journal was talking about it today. I think that's who it was. Talking about how there was a panel going on today that people are saying the AI is going to be smarter than the human in 2029.
You know what? Well, maybe we'll end on
That's
this.
a different session.
But I was doing a panel once before about AI. And the way I started that panel was I had AI write my introduction.
Yeah.
I told AI, please write me an introduction for a panel discussing AI. And the introduction was fantastic.
Yeah.
Then I asked AI, I always like to start my panels with a couple of jokes. Write me a couple of jokes. Did you ever ask AI to write you a
I have
joke?
not done that one yet. No.
You should try it because it's horrible.
Is it bad?
Horrible. And my point
Are
is,
we like bad dad jokes type style or what?
Just
or just
stupid,
bad?
just like you're not a human, obviously. Like
Gotcha.
no human would consider this to be funny.
Yes.
And the point is, AI is great for getting that data, but it doesn't have that human touch yet. Hopefully it doesn't ever, because that's a whole other world.
Now it's a whole different conversation, but yes.
But that empathy, that human interaction, maybe it will learn at some point, which could be a scary world. But I tell you what, today it doesn't. So helping advisors gather and compile the data, sure, but to interact with the human,
assistive, identifying potential opportunities, recognizing gaps in things that they're doing. Hey, you're not scheduling enough client reviews, or this person should have a higher frequency or lower frequency of communication. It can do that type of work really well off the data.
Yeah,
and that's what we'd like to see more of.
Great stuff. Well, we'll end it on that.
All right, check.
Brian McLaughlin, thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate it, man.
Okay. And on behalf of goRIA, fueled by investment news, I'm Chuck Vela, and that's going to be it for today. But I'll be back tomorrow for another full day of content and some really great guests. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Take care.